I've never had a guest on Whiskey Business that made a bid to try to win and be governor of the state of Ohio, and within the same year or so, put out a movie called Killer Raccoons 2. Yeah, Travis Irvine joins us on Whiskey Business tonight. Who doesn't love a road trip? Going on a road trip sounds exciting, right? And it is exciting because a road trip usually means you're going on some place or some destination that you're actually looking forward to going to. So you get excited about the road trip, the anticipation of getting there. And when you get on that road trip, you're excited the whole way down. And when you get to your destination, man, you have landed. You are there. It's awesome. And you do all these great things while you're on your road trip. But then there's the return from the road trip. And that always, let's be honest, just sucks because you're leaving the place that you had so much fun in to come home. And you have to come home from a road trip. Otherwise, it's not a road trip. It's called a move. Welcome to Whiskey Business. I'm Dino Tripodis. And yes, I just came off a road trip literally hours ago before recording this podcast. I had the pleasure of going down with the great state of Ohio's Ohio Liquor Control down to Lynchburg, Tennessee. Actually, we went to Nashville. We stayed in Nashville, and then we motored on over to Lynchburg, Tennessee, to one of my favorite places in the world, Jack Daniel's Distillery. And I had the pleasure of once again accompanying the Ohio Liquor Control people, Jennifer, Lorraine, and her husband Adrian as well. To
hell of a driver, I hear.
He is awesome. I'm giving shout outs to everybody, but I was going to give a shout out to Adrian, but you brought it up sooner than later. This guy, if I were ever to decide late in life to pursue a professional criminal career and planned an elaborate heist, he would be my wheelman.
Your baby driver?
He would be my baby driver, man. Yeah, he would be my baby driver. He would be my wheelman.
Cool.
He drove fast, safe, and aggressive. We got back from Nashville in 5.5 hours.
Wow.
That's counting a stop at Chick-fil-A where we went inside and ate.
Yeah.
And a stop for gas and to do whatever you got to do on the way back, and still got back in 5.5 hours. Amazing. So yeah, shout out to Adrian for driving, and shout outs to Lorraine and Jennifer from Ohio Liquor Control, and a big shout out to the good folks at Brown Foreman. And I actually have their names because I know all their first names, but I want to get their last names out as well because they were just so cool to us. Everybody down there. Mark Noblet, I can't remember which one it is, but he's a broker for RNDC. He was there. Ryan Grimshaw, he's a supplier with Brown Foreman. He was there. Heather Howe is also with Brown Foreman. She's very important. She is instrumental in bringing Cooper's Craft. Remember Cooper's Craft? We had that on the show not too long ago.
That's tasty.
Bringing that into the world. And Mark Grinstaff, who I want to be him. He's been with Brown Foreman for a while, and he's back with the Jack Daniel's side of things, working specifically with Gentleman Jack.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to be Mark.
Okay.
But Brown Foreman were the most excellent hosts, great dinners. They rolled out the black carpet, they call it, at Jack Daniel's.
Yeah.
For us.
Cool.
And we selected, we did some barrel selections of Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select and Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Rye Select. And then we also, in the afternoon, did some selections for some barrel proof Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. So those are going to be awesome. I mean, yeah, we've gotten Jack Daniel's Single Barrel in here on a regular basis, but these have been specially selected barrels for the state of Ohio.
Ooh, that sounds tasty.
The rye was excellent. The rye was amazing. So I also thought it'd be fitting, after concluding that trip, to we've never had the Jack Daniels Sinatra Select on the program. I've always been saving it for special occasions, and I think as a salute and thank you to everybody down there that we'd go with the Sinatra Select. So our guest, Travis Irvine, tonight is like lucking out big time.
Yeah.
You're getting the big boy bottle of Jack Daniels.
It is big. It's humongous.
It's huge. It's very heavy.
It's a very heavy bottle. It's a beautiful bottle. It's beautiful packaging. Obviously, Sinatra was a huge Jack Daniels enthusiast, if you will. So they decided to come up with this special blend of Jack in honor of Frank Sinatra. So we will drink it.
It's like 20 pounds.
I know, man. You can work out with
do some
that.
reps.
You can wear that.
Oh, I'm out of breath already.
Careful, watch the rotator cuff. We'll drink it in honor of Frank, and it's a big thank you to Jack Daniels and the good folks at Brown-Forman who made the last couple days very, very special. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. And before we start talking to Travis, you want to do that now?
Well, yeah, it's a perfect segue because while you were down there, you took a bunch of Instagram videos of your road trip.
I did.
Whiskey Business
were
is
you
on
proud of me?
Instagram. I was very proud
Were
of you.
proud of me?
Dino's coming out of the dark ages with the social media.
I'm trying to actually
I was proud
get
of you,
involved
man.
in social media. It's very exciting, Travis. It's very exciting.
We're working on it. He's almost there.
Oh, sure. I mean, welcome to hell. It's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yes,
Now you got everyone can make fun of you on social media,
Yeah,
too.
so
too.
I'm fine with that. I don't.
The bad comes with the good. But
Yeah,
yes, Whiskey Business is on Instagram. You can see all the videos from your road trip. Of course, YouTube, Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. We videotape all of these podcasts.
Yes, we do.
And some of the behind the bottles things. Facebook, Twitter. And we always ask that you rate and review Whiskey Business on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts because that helps other people find us. Propagate, as we like to say.
Propagate. And also want to thank everybody who came out to the premise. We had a great time at the premise. We have another one coming up on October the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, October 22nd. We are back at Shadowbox and currently looking to book a November date as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. A lot of fun, once again. So if you've not been to the premise yet at Shadowbox Live on the upfront stage, we strongly suggest you get some tickets and join us there. But thank you for everybody who came out again this time. We had a blast. As always, it's a good fun time. It really is. And it feels like forever since we've been back home here.
We did the Middle West Spirits before that,
Right.
And the premise, and then we were at the craft cocktail
The classic.
classic.
Yeah,
So,
that's the podcast. Is that the podcast?
month.
No, the premise is on now.
Yeah, it's been like a good month since we've been back in our.
So
the
Travis,
safe
you brought us home,
confines
buddy.
of
Hey.
Dino's bar.
You brought us home, and you're kind of like on a road trip as well because you're currently living out in Los Angeles, but Columbus is your home. Well, Bexley specifically is your home, yes?
Yes, yeah.
Well, welcome, man. Thrilled to have you. Travis did the very first premise
Had a great time.
with us.
I loved
you
it.
You were there. You debuted it
Yeah.
as far as one of the competitors, and we had a great time. So thank you for that. And you're going to come back and do it again.
Oh, man, I hope so. I'd like to be one of the people who just sits on the stage next time because it is an interesting process to write a whole new 5 minutes and 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, we're making
On the spot.
our own tweaks as well.
Yeah.
You might be the combination guy that's both the guest comic and just sit right down. We might move away from some other extra guest and just try to streamline things. So you'll get to do that.
I would love
that
to.
And just do 10 minutes that you actually know and love.
Yeah.
And then sit down and talk with me for 10 or 15 minutes.
I did have fun, though, because I got to tell that story about getting stopped at TSA while
Right.
super high on a Gary Johnson weed cookie. So that was a lot of
A
fun.
Gary Johnson weed cookie.
That's the one that makes you forget what Aleppo is, and then also that you're running for president.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
That's how good it is.
That's the Gary Johnson
so
weed
good you
cookie.
forget.
Don't
Okay.
take it before you go on MSNBC at 7:30 in the morning, though. That's
Noted.
Yeah.
For all of us here at Whiskey Business who have no chance of going on MSNBC at 7:30 in the morning, but you never know. It could be. Why are you home?
I'm home. It was my mom's birthday, and I won't say how old she turned, but it was
not?
a milestone birthday.
Well,
She's a little shy. She's a little shy about it. She
we
doesn't.
should celebrate it.
I did. We did. We had a great time.
No, we should celebrate it right now.
All right, let's do it.
How old was she?
Oh man.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
We'll say nice things.
Here, we'll bleep it out.
My mother's 82. My mother just turned 83, actually. So,
Oh, really?
Come on.
Okay. My mom just turned 70.
That's nothing.
That's
nothing.
come on.
and I guess she doesn't look it. Everyone who sees her
That's
thinks she's like
nothing.
55.
70
What's
is
your
the new
mom's name?
55.
Sandy Mundy,
Hey, Sandy.
famous Columbus local calligrapher. Had
Really?
Yeah, she's had her art up in Wexner, up plenty of places.
damn.
So she's very shy and like humble, and my mom. But yeah, she's made it this far, and I had to come home for that. And then
And
I
is
got.
she still doing the calligraphy?
She still does. She teaches a lot more now. She teaches seniors. She teaches kids. So calligraphy is like almost a lost art.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those.
My mom knows how to do calligraphy. Now that you say that.
Did she learn from my mom?
No, she's not from around here.
All right,
but
there you
but
go.
she would have
Yeah.
if she was from Bexley.
Yeah. No.
Can
It's,
you do calligraphy?
No, I remember she did like a class like in 4th grade, like art, like she
Yeah.
taught us. But I don't remember.
Do you remember what was it? Spirograph? That was.
I do remember that.
What's that have to do with calligraphy?
Because that's about as close as I could get to calligraphy as far as making any type of seemingly artistic type of design. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask my mom about it. You inspired me to ask her about it.
Etch a
again.
Sketch was
Etch
very
a
close
sketch.
too.
But calligraphy, yeah, man, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
happy birthday to Sandy.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
cheers.
Happy
Sandy
birthday.
Mundy.
Happy
Sandy.
birthday,
Thank
70
you
years
so
old. What are
much.
you ashamed of?
I'm sorry.
70.
I
She's
totally-
actually only 10 years older than I am.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, does that put it in perspective?
That puts it all in perspective
Okay.
for me. Yeah.
All right.
Of course.
So, yeah.
And of course, she was the one who had us listen to you in the morning when we were going to school all the
I
time.
appreciate
So
that.
I remember.
appreciate
I think we called in for a couple of contests and then never won anything. But
That's all right. I got nothing to do with that part of it.
Okay,
I got
great.
no say as to who wins or whatnot. Just
yeah.
Me, on the other hand,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It is.
It was all the
It is
producer.
the producer.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
producer has a lot to do with it.
Because you could pick up any phone call and be like, "You're caller number 9," and he'll just believe you.
we follow every rule by the FCC.
Okay. All right.
I forgot how freaking smooth the Sinatra Select is.
It makes you. Yeah. It makes me want to sing like Sinatra.
Can you?
No.
Do you sing?
I do sing karaoke.
Yeah.
I knocked it out of the park.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I do Ray Charles' version of "America the Beautiful," and I wear my American flag sunglasses, and go on and do it that way, and that's usually a pretty big hit. And then and I slowly stumble my way off of the stage to commit fully to the
Right,
bit.
sure.
See, when
to
you
the
wear
bit.
those glasses, put them back on for a second.
Okay.
Put them back on for a 2nd What do you think the first thing that comes in my mind when I see you in those glasses, as far as somebody that's politically motivated throughout history?
That guy's pretty cool. I want to vote for him.
Abby Hoffman.
Oh, Abby Hoffman. Thank
I think
you.
of
You know,
Abby Hoffman,
I've-
right?
I've gotten
right.
that before.
I get Abby Hoffman with the glasses on, especially,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You right there, in Washington, man.
Yeah, right.
Telling the people what's going down and what's wrong with this country, man.
Yeah, that guy, he's a big idol of mine. That bit that he did where he broke into the Wall Street exchange and just threw money off of the balcony. I mean, yeah, I've seen the Vincent D'Onofrio movie with him and Janine Garofalo. It's about Abby Hoffman, but I think the documentaries are a little more interesting because
Yeah.
the fact that guy was real, and what do they call it? The yippies? Is that what they were? The yipsters?
The yips. I'll have to
Something
double
along
check
those
that
lines?
one.
Yeah.
I don't
Sounds
wanna-
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, they were all so funny. I do love their motif, where it is just like you're politically involved, you're counterculture, but you're also hilarious. So I will take that as a compliment.
That is a compliment.
Thank you
It is
so
a
much.
compliment.
Yeah.
All right, so since we're on that ride, so to speak, politics. Why and when did you get these political ambitions? Let's start with you wanting to become mayor of Bexley, the city that you grew up in. I mean, where did the political ambition come from to begin with?
Well, I think it started first as just an interest. I mean, as a kid, I used to love watching the debates. Like 1988, I think I was 5 years old, and I wanted to watch all the debates, and I wanted to watch all the conventions.
At 5?
At 5. And I didn't really fully understand what was going on, but my dad, he's like, well, my 5-year-old wants to watch politics on TV. We'll let him stay up. And I think that's what planted the seed.
Were your parents politically motivated? Or politically involved?
Not really. They're involved with the community. Bexley's a nice small community, so they're involved with things like the co-op and recycling and, just kind of making the community a better place. But in terms of like city council or anything like that, never
Nothing.
really. My mom is on a commission in Bexley, one of the building commissions, but That came after the mayor run, because essentially the mayor run came about in 2007. I had graduated from Ohio University.
In what?
In degree in communications.
Okay.
And then
what year? Sorry.
it was 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, and then and of
Probably
course.
partied. I probably killed some brain cells with you down there.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
We'll never get those back,
No.
but we don't need them.
That's debatable.
Even that is but and down at OU, it's a very liberal town.
Sure.
So I was in college in the Bush-Cheney years. 9/11 happened my senior year of high school. So it was one of those things where it's like you grew up in the 90s. I remember Ross Perot in the debates and thinking that there was a third guy in the debate. That was really cool. So I think that's what kind of opened my eyes to third parties. Ross Perot was.
Might be the first time we talked about Ross Perot
Can I
and
finish?
whiskey business.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Rest in peace, by the way. He just passed away this year.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of opened up, and then 96, 2000. Every time a presidential election came around, I was just glued to the TV.
So when you were in college, did you lean one way or the other, politically speaking?
I was
Were you-
more left, but that's because I was anti-war. It was,
Okay.
It was one of those things. It was like I turned 18 in August 2001, and then the whole world changed a month
Sure.
later. So, I think like a lot of people. I was a senior in high school. I had friends. We graduated, and they joined the military to go to Afghanistan, things like that. And I think a lot of my anti-war leanings came from Athens, from being in a liberal town, but also those guys who came back from Iraq and Afghanistan and be like, I don't know why we're there. We're guarding sand out there, things like that. So I think that motivated a lot of political, leanings in terms of. I don't even think I knew what left and right was. I just knew that I didn't want.
You just knew what you believed in and what you thought, and really didn't put it in a category.
Exactly. And to me, Bush and Cheney were evil. And then, by 2006, 2007, 2008, Democrats started to take over. And then you saw that they didn't really pull out of the wars either. They were voting for the Patriot Act. They were continuing everything Bush Cheney put down. So then there's this congressman from Texas named Ron Paul who ran for president in 2008. And there's this big moment. In fact, political historians call it the Ron Paul moment, because there's a moment when a lot of millennials realized that a Republican could be anti-war, because he stood up there on this stage with 10 guys, and everyone was, Giuliani's there talking about why we got to stay in the Middle East, and here's small Ron Paul being like, I think we should bring the troops home, and
What?
Yeah, exactly. My mind exploded, and I was like, who is this guy? Is he a Democrat? Am I still a Democrat? And then my friends were like, oh, Ron Paul's a libertarian. You should check it out. And from there, that's kind of what pulled me over to the libertarian side. So all of that led up to 2007. After I graduated from OU, lived in the Bahamas for a year, grew white guy dreadlocks, tried to make a movie in the Bahamas, failed, moved back home with my parents, saw that the mayor was retiring, and so I threw my hat in the ring. And that was motivated by a local issue called the Southwest Master Plan, where Bexley City Hall had colluded with Capital University to buy up homes, rezone, and knock down the homes in the neighborhood I grew up in and build up dorms. And as exciting as it might sound to be living, as a post-college grad on a college campus, I was more worried about my neighbors, because, everybody's property values were kind of going down, and the neighborhood was getting just completely remastered. So I ran for mayor on that issue to basically speak up for Southwest Bexley. And by doing so, I don't want to ruin the moral of the story. There's a documentary that we made about it called American Mayor. It's on Amazon Prime.
Right.
But we showed that just by running, even as a dumb white kid with dreadlocks at 24 years old, just by running and talking about an issue, you can change the local discourse in your hometown.
And you did.
And we did. Yeah, the homes are still there. And and then my mom, sweet mom, got put on a commission, and then the guy down the street got elected to city council, and from there everything's been fine. And the college students, I don't mind them.
Was it close? Did you have a shot?
Oh, I had no shot.
Yeah, no shot at all.
But it is wild. I got 201 votes, so 200 people besides myself voted for me.
I mean,
I'm glad you voted for yourself.
But
at
it
least.
was 5% of the vote, and we had 7 other people running that year.
okay, so I mean that's
So the guy
you stole some votes from somebody.
the guy who won by 60 votes. So
That's-
every single
that's
person,
huge.
yeah.
You made a difference.
Absolutely. And it was one of those elections where it's like, especially as a third-party guy, I mean, we had debates with 8 people. One of the candidates was an 18-year-old senior in high school. And then, then there was me with my dumb dreadlocks. I eventually did get them cut, which I think actually lost me votes.
Do you think it lost you votes,
Yeah.
or did the dreadlocks cost you votes?
I don't know anymore because it was hard to go door to door and talk to people. But then I remember a cop later on. He was like, "I was going to vote for you till you cut those dreadlocks."
A
So you
cop.
cut them.
Yeah, it was a Bexley cop.
What was
so-
that movie with James Franco who had dreadlocks? I could see that.
Spring Breakers?
Yeah, I
he had
think
cornrows. in that. That's,
okay.
that's
That is
different. That's a
Okay.
different kind of
Okay,
cultural
different hairdo.
appropriation.
Okay. Sorry.
Different.
Sorry.
Yeah, both on the cultural appropriation spectrum,
okay.
but completely
So,
different
Fair
ends.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you run for mayor of Bexley. Does that light a fire in you, politically speaking? Because down the line,
Big
obviously,
time.
you ran for governor. We'll get to that in a second. But in the interim between, the run for mayor of Bexley and then your bid to run for the go for broke and just be governor of the state of Ohio, what did you do in between, politically speaking?
That did light a fire because I moved to Washington, D.C. after that, which was a good move because in 2007, I also decided to start doing stand-up comedy every week, not as a profession, but as a full-time hobby. When you start out, you're just trying to make sure you can be funny. So I started in college at OU, but I didn't really take it seriously till I was running for mayor. And then when I moved to D.C. after not being mayor, I got an internship with Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York.
Okay.
That was through a Bexley connection there. And then I essentially, I was still kind of a Democrat at that time. And then I think moving to D.C. kind of solidified my complete disrespect for the two-party system. It was 2008, so it was like Obama was coming up. But the way the senators, even an adult like Chuck Schumer in the Senate, can be such a monster and so hypocritical. So seeing behind the scenes, I think, actually kind of pulled me more to the third party route.
But don't you find even no matter what party it is, be it the Democrats, the Republicans, or even yours, the Libertarian Party, don't you find hypocrisy no matter what it is, and no matter what realm it's in?
Most of the time, except with these libertarians, because there's so few of them that are actually elected, that when they do get elected, it's like a local office. We got a guy in California. He's a Riverside Board of Supervisors, Riverside County. And, actually with libertarians, I think they do a pretty good job. They're not perfect. There's Rand Paul. There's still things to not like about
There's
them.
nothing perfect in politics, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why libertarians are also just like government is an imperfect entity.
But, as long as I can remember
Yeah.
growing up, and everybody, since I was of voting age, has hawked and said we need a solid third party. A third party needs to come up and develop.
Yeah.
Do you ever really think it's going to substantially happen, where it's actually going to matter and it's actually going to affect change in some way, shape, or form? An actual third party that would be, in the running, in the mix.
Yeah.
When? Before I die?
Man, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, how long you got? I mean,
I don't know.
We're working on it. Yeah. No, I think the tipping point, at least in my lifetime, was Ross Perot, because he got 19% of the popular vote, and he was actually at one point.
But he wasn't a libertarian.
Wasn't
He was
libertarian.
an independent.
He was an independent, and then eventually the Reform Party.
The Reform
So
Party.
there are lots of different third.
Which I tend to think of myself more as an independent right now.
Sure.
I don't go left or right. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I listen to
Both sides.
What both sides are saying, and then make my decisions based on that. I have voted Democratic. I have voted Republican.
Yeah.
I did not vote for Ross Perot at that particular time. But yeah, to have a substantial, living, breathing third party, I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Well, you're in the majority of Americans by being an independent.
That might be my cynicism coming through.
Sure. Well, and that's okay. Give me 10 more years, I'll probably get there. For the time being, I just turned 36, so I've been in that 18 to 35 demographic. That's always so important every election season. So I was really trying to do something with that demographic, and that's why I wanted to do more than just donate, volunteer. I wanted to run and be a candidate. And for me, at least locally here in Ohio, I mean, the Libertarians, I mean, you basically called it. I mean, Ross Perot, why do you get 19% of the popular vote? Because he was in those debates. And, I don't want to jump ahead too forward, but when I ran for Congress in 2010 as a libertarian.
I did not know that you ran for Congress.
That was tucked in there. Yeah.
Was that in between the mayor and the bid for
governor?
governor?
Yeah.
Congress. I did not know that.
Yeah, I ran in the 12th district against Pat.
You getting a good shot of the shirt there, Johnny, on that one?
The
Irvine for U.S. Congress.
And this was, 2010. Nobody knew what libertarians were, so our campaign slogan was socially liberal, fiscally conservative, all American.
That's.
I'd vote for that.
Works.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because a lot of people are like, "What's a libertarian?" I'm like, "Well,
Really? At what year?
this is 2010." So
2010. People were asking, "What's a libertarian?"
yeah, they still didn't know.
Because I went when I was in college in 1977. One of my dorm people, roommates, whatever, next door was a libertarian. I learned about libertarians back then.
right.
So you're saying in 2010?
A lot of people. I mean, 2007 was when I found out about him. So yeah, it was 2010 was kind of, but that was a Tea Party year. You may remember. So that's when everyone was kind of they were going conservative against the Obama agenda, and essentially the libertarians kind of fell short because the Tea Party kind of stole our thunder. But
took your thunder.
Here's the thing: in 2010, the Libertarian Party in Ohio had ballot access. We had a full slate-wide slate of candidates. We had congressional candidates like myself. And then what happened after that, 2014, the Republican Party, who's in power pretty solidly in the state house and with the governorship, they kicked the Libertarians off the ballot in 2014. So you're right when you say third party, like, will it ever happen? But I would argue that the reasons it doesn't happen is because there's so much institutional bias. There's so many hurdles to get on the ballot. There's so many hurdles to get in the debates. The criteria for me to get in the debate in 2010 at WOSU was 5%. I need to be polling at 5% of the vote. But there were no polls that had me in them. And then the ones that did were all Democrat or Republican, so they weren't independent.
So the bid for Congress did not go well.
It did not go well. I got 4% of the vote in that one, 9,000 votes.
What do you think you need to do different if you're going to continue? Are you going to continue to pursue some sort of office?
I'm all done.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah, the governor one was very hard, very difficult, and we can talk about that one.
Well, yeah, you tried to run for governor.
Yeah,
of course
yeah.
I want to talk about it.
Well, but
it's not something that ever. That's like,
Might be a first for whiskey business.
Yeah, you tried to run for governor.
You told me Rich Cordray hasn't come in here yet.
No,
Well,
he love to get you on,
Rich.
but
Yeah. No,
He won't return my phone calls.
Right. There was a lot of stuff that happened in between those, from 2010 to 2018, especially you were saying, like, politically,
Sure.
what kept me involved. So I went to Columbia Journalism School, got a master's there, graduated in 2012, jumped on the Gary Johnson campaign, but I was working for a guy named Rod.
And his cookies.
And his cookies. I didn't discover those till 2016. But I was actually working with a guy named Roger Stone, who you may recognize as a Trump guy later on. But he's a Gary Johnson guy in 2012. So I worked very closely with Stone and Gary's campaign in 2012.
Stone.
Roger Stone.
The same
Roger
Stone.
Stone.
Not a different Roger Stone. That Stone.
And when I met Roger Stone, he came to one of my comedy shows. And I met him at an after party on his roof. I didn't know who the hell he was. And I was just like, who's this old guy? And was he trying to crack all these jokes? This guy sucks. And then, like, the next day I found out who Roger Stone is. And I was like, oh, boy. So you're my boss, huh? Yeah. So that started a whole new realm. And I got a degree in journalism. So I started working in journalism, HuffPost, The Guardian, Viceland. And
From Columbus, or where are you at now?
I was
DC?
in New York City.
Oh,
New York City.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Columbia is in New York, so that took me over there.
Okay.
And then in 2014, I actually ran a PAC here in Ohio because the Republicans had kicked the Libertarians off of the ballot. I started a super PAC here called Central Ohioans Countering Kasich, COCK. And we worked long and hard to give Kasich the shaft.
This is like a letter away from cock.
Yeah,
It really is.
no, it is cock. It's just cock.
Oh wait, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's literally COCK.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's why you don't do calligraphy, because you can't spell.
I can't spell. I get halfway down the beautiful. God damn it! I just spelled it. Yeah, shit. I forgot my O.
It's two C's.
What letter was missing out of that for you?
I missed the O. I had an extra C in there.
It's 4 letters.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
Okay, it's all good.
I stop at 3-letter words generally. So
Okay, got you. Well, we can call it.
Thank you. That's probably the hardest I've laughed today. Over the fact
You're welcome.
that you don't know how to spell cock.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
He keeps his cock short.
Okay.
All right.
But we digress.
Actually, we're right on target.
Okay.
Because that was a hit with the Libertarians, with the
I bet it
Democrats.
was. Yeah.
I bet it was, but
After they spell it right.
but then again, it's probably, you know, to everybody else offensive and controversial. And,
Yes,
and causes brings attention, but not the attention you want.
Depending on who you talk to.
Right.
I mean, the Democrats loved it because 2014 was a year that this guy, Ed Fitzgerald out of Cleveland, was the Democrat candidate, and he was a disaster. I mean, his campaign was over by August that year. So I remember, you know, Cleveland.com, the Dispatch, covering cock because we were the only they loved cock. I'm just saying.
Cleveland loves cock.
We were the only anti-Kasich voice out there. So we would just, every time Kasich released a campaign video, we'd release one with me as John Kasucks. And you just kind of Kasucks cock.
Okay.
And you flap your arms a lot and you just squinch your face. And
Okay,
I was
so
basically
but
doing a
at
Kasich impression.
that point, you have to realize that what you're doing now, you have
Yeah.
no chance of all you're trying to do is disrupt at this point.
Yeah, but that's great. That's Abby Hoffman.
Yeah,
This is
right?
I mean, John Weaver, who's Kasich's longtime campaign manager, has me blocked on Twitter from both my personal account and the cock account. When I saw he had blocked me on my personal, I immediately went to the cock account and followed him. Within 5 minutes, I think I was blocked
blocked that
there.
one,
He
too.
blocked cock. He's a cock blocker. Let's face it. So I have on good authority.
puns are great.
Yeah, thank you. That's part of why I did it. So I have
Oh, my
a
God.
good authority that Kasich's people hated cock, but I think they also loved it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say what I normally say at the end of the podcast, that the opinions that are expressed on Whiskey Business are not necessarily those of Whiskey Business,
Yeah.
but sometimes our guests, and they have an open forum, so whatever the case might be, because this is probably, we don't really get into politics too much on Whiskey Business.
And
this isn't really about politics, but this is about more the process that you as an individual went through, and that's what we're focusing on tonight.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that we have no, we're not expressing any leanings one way or the other. I just want an entertaining podcast, and God bless you. So far, it's been a podcast full of cock.
It's great.
Right? There you go. Chock full of cock. Yeah. Well, it is just, this is part of my approach
so
to
funny.
politics, honestly, is that it should be fun. It should be more engaging. It should be, that's how you get the young people, if you got a funny commercial. Every candidate I've ever liked, there's a guy, Paul Wellstone, Democrat out of Minnesota. He used to make these funny campaign commercials. He was a senator out of nowhere. And I like that.
Did he win?
He won. Yeah, he won. He was eventually killed in a plane crash after he voted against the Iraq War. I mean, he was kind of a tragic progressive figure, but I just like guys who
So humor has its place in politics.
Oh, big time.
I tend to agree with that.
Well, doesn't say not just the young. I think across the board.
Yeah.
Even the
think about what a funny
seasoned vets.
candidate Ronald Reagan was. He knew how to deliver a joke. Even Obama had very good
Obama had great
comedic timing. Yeah,
he
so-
had great comedic timing.
And the
Yeah.
comedians the politicians who fail are the ones who can't take a joke or can't,
Right. I find anybody that's in the political arena who is just even a little bit self-deprecating at times appeals to me.
Absolutely.
That they can make fun of themselves and they have a sense of humor. I was so upset when oh God, how can I forget his name? The SNL guy.
Phil Hartman?
No, the SNL
The other
politician.
SNL. Oh, Al Franken.
Yeah, Al Franken. Thank you.
Al Franken would have demolished Trump in 2020 if it came down to debates.
Yeah, and with everything that came out with that part, I think he gave up too quickly. I think he bought out too fast. But that was at the height of that particular movement. So I get it, but what a shame,
Right, right.
Because I think he was actually doing some good.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid seeing Al Franken's books, like Rush Limbaugh's A Big Fat Idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
And just things like that. And guys like Bill Maher. There are these comedians who are political. Dennis Miller, I remember really liking when I was a kid. I don't think I got all the jokes, but it was just like, I thought it was so cool that there were comedians who could just be political. Even on PBS, there was a guy named Mark Russell who used to play the piano and sing like political songs.
I remember Mark Russell.
Yeah,
on PBS.
all of these guys, they planted the seeds in my brain. And it was like, I can like those politics, but I can make it fun and funny too.
It's real quick, because we're close to age. You're a little bit older than me, but like, all of my impressions of Ross Perot are from SNL. All my impressions of, like I learned all of my politics through SNL, and that's probably
your politics have been
my pop culture has been skewed
by parody.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I think that will still be the case, obviously, with Baldwin doing the Trump and everything. But yeah.
Did you remember Norm Macdonald's Bob Dole?
Oh yeah,
Bob Dole. Bob Dole doesn't like
anything
this.
Norm Macdonald is great.
That's Bob Dole's peanut butter. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Who let you in here?
And I mean, Dana Carvey doing anything.
Anything. Yeah. And
But
then
you're still not relatively. You are young, so I'm kind of curious as to what has extinguished the flame to continue to pursue politics on any level.
well, that would be the last 2 years. It would be.
Was it the run for governor that did it?
Yeah,
That
well,
did you?
and 2016 was honestly very difficult. I was with the Gary Johnson campaign again in 2016, and I was a journalist too. I was a journalist at Viceland, which was a new TV channel, and I was making videos, making fun of Kasich, which I was actually really proud of. He was campaigning in New York. I went in there and we ruined his campaign rally. There's a video of that. I'll send it to you guys to put in the liner notes.
We'll put a link on it somewhere.
Yeah, but
we have a lot of links with this. With Travis
yeah,
that
right,
we
right,
made
yeah,
too.
I'll send them your way.
So
But 2016 was just so bizarre on so many levels. As a journalist, it blew your mind. As a political activist, it blew your mind. The fact that Trump was able to swing through the way he did through the Republican primaries, every step of the way, everyone's like, well, this won't last. I actually bought a Make America Great Again hat at the beginning of it because I was
satire,
like,
yes.
Yeah, I was like, I got to get this thing before this fizzles out.
I got a bumper sticker the
now,
same way.
Yeah, now I look like an asshole, for having this hat. And it was just a bit at the time. And now, of course he's president. So 2017, I ran a campaign in Brooklyn, Reform Party. We ran my roommate for a Brooklyn Borough president. We made a documentary about that. That will be coming out soon. It's called Hail Yourself America. Eventually, when that's out, I can send stuff your guys' way. And then in 2018, it was pretty obvious that the Libertarians were gunning to, they needed a gubernatorial candidate because the only way the Libertarian Party could get back their ballot access in the state of Ohio was to have a governor candidate who could get 3% of the popular vote. They approached me probably in 2016. I had mulled it over, and as soon as I realized I could make it work logistically to move back to Ohio, I was like, all right, let's do it. I will be the governor candidate for the Libertarian Party. It was a very important race to get this 3%. My track record had showed that I could do it. And I could do campaign commercials that get across the divide. We always use humor in our campaign commercials in 2007 for mayor and 2010 for Congress. And so 2018, that's when I came back here. And we can get into it because it was a lot of work.
There's a lot of work, but did you at any point when you were running for governor, did you think you had a shot? Or what were you trying to accomplish?
I wanted to get the 3%, and I wanted to steal votes from Mike DeWine so the Republicans didn't win, to send them a message for kicking off the Libertarian Party off the ballot. Because it was a crooked move. If you look into it, the way they kicked us off in 2014 and then rewrote the rules so we couldn't even have ballot access for the next 4 years. It's criminal. For me, it borders fascism when you just don't allow people to vote for who they want.
So is that part of the reason you're done? Because is this you thinking this is a system that I can't beat?
Right, and that's where I'm slowly turning into Dino. Right, the cynicism is growing because it's as much as I still love the Libertarians, we didn't get the 3%. Spoiler alert: I did get 80,000 votes, but I only got 2% of the vote. And of course, Mike DeWine won by I think 200,000 votes. So I remember the day before the election, 2018, there was a poll that had Rich Cordray at 48%, Mike DeWine at 43%,
right,
Irvine at 5%, and I was like, holy shit. I'm about to pull this off. I'm about to what Roger Stone would call rat fuck the election. And by the way, Roger Stone endorsed me for governor of Ohio. I'll send you that video too.
Yeah,
we have a lot of videos to send you, but all of this stuff's real. Yeah,
Send them all.
it's all
Send them
real.
all.
It's a great video. It's just Roger Stone grizzled as ever, and just like, vote freedom, vote Travis Irvine. He's been hanging out with Alex Jones too long is really what it is. So he's starting to talk like him. But the fact that we didn't succeed, and it was so much work to go 3 hours up to Ashtabula one day, 2 hours down to Portsmouth the next day, talk to 10 Tea Party people who, as much as I could give them the spiel about why the Ohio Republican Party doesn't stand for actual conservative values, the first question I would always get after I'm done talking is, what do you think about the caravan of immigrants? And that just was such a disappointment to me as a 35-year-old.
That was the first question that comes across?
I'm talking to a conservative group.
Did you have an answer?
I would usually say we're thousands of miles away. And also, it's a federal government issue. That's not a thing a governor of Ohio deals with. Unless we've got Canadians pouring over Lake Erie, which my promise at one meeting, I just said, you know what? If you want me to build a wall along Lake Erie, it's got to be a fun, bouncy wall.
Okay.
You'll do it. I'll do it. I'm the guy.
I'll make Canada pay for it.
As far as being, as far as being an off-the-cuff type of guy, there's no doubt in my mind as we speak here tonight, and from what you're an intelligent man. You're smart. So you have to know going in that you're going to get these questions. You're going to get these questions, and even though they have nothing to do with the job you're going for, you're going to get the questions. So why don't you prepare and have a solid answer? Or do you feel that it's more a case of there's no good answer, so I'm not gonna give you a phony one?
I would give the good answer. I usually would do that Canada wall line about the bouncy wall.
Right.
Because honestly, I did that at a Tea Party meeting in Butler County, and it went over so well. And actually, Butler County, they were very receptive to us. But then there's issues like abortion, the pro-life folks within the conservative. That was always, we had to have an answer ready for that one. But, again, it's a federal government issue. It's not something that state governments deal with, If the question is just, hey, Travis, are you pro-life or pro-choice? It's like, well, there's a lot of debate within the Libertarian Party. Me personally, I know women who've gotten abortions. I don't want to tell them what to do with their bodies. But if I was ever in a situation, yeah, I'd love to have a kid. It's just there's so many nuanced answers. That you can't please everybody,
No.
But at the end of the day, it's like, what were the big issues, the actual issues in 2018 in Ohio? We had an opioid crisis. 4,000 people still have one. And it got worse under DeWine, and it started under Cordray. And so I would go in and be like, I'm the only candidate. I want to legalize weed, which, marijuana in the states that have legal marijuana or even medical marijuana, the opioid crisis is 25% less deadly. So, you can make money, invest it in criminal justice reform and in addiction services, and then also knock down this opioid crisis. I mean, right away, I'm setting myself apart from DeWine and Cordray and presenting an answer that I thought was very logical. My mind was blown.
Well, that's your first mistake.
Sure.
Logical. You're being logical.
Oh, man. I was trying.
Being logical.
Yeah. I had glasses. I was brushing my hair. I was doing everything that I thought some of these folks wanted me to do, but it's just people have their issues. I will say on the gun issue, libertarians are a little more pro-Second Amendment than Republicans. Okay. And that was one where we actually did kind of kick DeWine's ass around a little bit because he's got a real anti-gun record. And in libertarians, we were just trying to really court the pro-gun groups in Ohio. And so that was one area that I think kind of paid off in terms of stealing that DeWine support. But, at the end of the day, the 2018 political map in Ohio was identical to 2016. And it's just the Democrats have lost the Mahoning Valley. They've lost those blue-collar independent voters, and they're all voting Trump now. I don't know how much longer that'll last.
I don't know either.
But
because were you being based in the political beliefs and that you have and where you stand, when you saw the Trump parade start to roll and march and eventually win, were you shocked?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, as a journalist, as a political activist, as a former candidate. And, I remember in 2018, people telling me I had to trump it up. And then half of the
What does that mean? You have to trump it up.
Be more rude. Be more incendiary. Be more vicious. You know, I mean, I have jokes about Mike DeWine. You know, he looks like a garden gnome, and he should get back in the tree and start making more cookies.
Okay,
things
but if
like
you
that.
don't, but once again, if
doesn't do anything for me,
if it doesn't, if it's not coming out of you sincerely, what you believe you're doing it just to do it, then you're not being true to yourself again.
And that was the big problem.
That's a tough thing to do. Yeah, it's funny over the course of the years, especially when I was in radio, I'd been approached and like, did you ever think of running for some sort of office?
Right, radio guys are very good.
Right, and I immediately put the kibosh on it. Not that I don't think I could sincerely do it. I think I could. But man, I gotta admit that I become jaded over the years of just watching every little thing, every little piece of minutia that really has nothing to do with the job at hand being scrutinized and analyzed and exploited. And in Trump's case, it worked the opposite way. It's like I don't. What?
Yeah.
I don't understand. These are bad things, but they're helping him, as opposed to bad things in the past that have hurt people.
Right.
Too many skeletons?
No,
I'm kidding.
No, I'm
I'm just goofing.
He's a man of the people.
I get you.
Skeletons. We all have. Everybody's got skeletons.
You got at least one. It's inside you at all times.
No skeleton.
Yeah. That was my favorite. Lincoln Chafee Lincoln Chafee is a libertarian now, by the way. He just switched over. Do you remember that guy at all? He tried to run against Hillary and Bernie, and his big thing was, I have no scandals. It was like he said it 5 times in one debate, and everyone's just like, well, I don't know who this guy is, but not scandalous enough for me.
Not scandalous. No. Everybody, got to have a little dirt.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's the whole map has changed, and I think the big difficulty.
So maybe now's my time to get in.
That's what I'm saying. Dino for anything.
What? For what?
For city council, go local first. That's my only advice. Unless you think you can.
Don't go big.
Don't go big. I wouldn't go big.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah, governor.
Governor took him 3 years.
Yeah, Ohio's a big state. It's a
big state. It's a swing state. It's an important state. You can't win the presidency unless you win Ohio State.
Yes, absolutely. And it's becoming less purple every year. It's weird. It's like all my young people friends. Columbus is obviously an exception. Cleveland, Cincinnati.
If I ever ran for office, would you run my campaign?
I would absolutely run my campaign. There's a guy in Cleveland named Mike Polk Jr., who I want to run for mayor of Cleveland. I actually, this might be a good segue into giving you your present, and then we can kind of talk about L.A. and things like that. But
I have a present?
There's a guy named Robert Schmeigel. He does.
I know, right?
He's interested in running for office, I've been told. By good sources, and I am very interested in running that campaign. The campaign
where at?
He's in
California?
LA,
California,
yeah. But the Schmeigel,
Triumph
the insult comic dog.
Adam Sandler fame, everything.
Yeah, and the campaign I ran in Brooklyn was my roommate Ben Kissel. He's a podcaster. The last podcast on the left's got 2.5 million listeners. He's a comedian. That's how we know each other.
Right.
And it's more fun for me to kind of be behind the scenes and let you guys do the talking. So, yes, if Dino, I will say it here on the record, and I will swear on this personal Roastmaster General lighter from Jeff Ross's house that I stole.
That you stole. He wasn't given to you.
He's got a ton. Don't worry. He'll be fine. I will swear on this lighter that if you run for office, Dino, I will run your campaign.
This is my gift.
That's your
This
gift.
is my gift
From Los Angeles, California.
From Los Angeles.
I had to hide it in my sock from Jeff Ross's house.
I will put this right now on the shelf of.
He's putting it on the shelf of.
Putting it on the shelf of novelties.
Right in front of our podcast of the year award.
Perfect.
Right there.
That's great. That's a great gift.
That's a great gift. Thank you.
When he listens to this episode, I hope that he doesn't take it out on you.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't. No, I think
that's where that lighter went.
I
had 7 of them.
I had 97. Yeah. No, but he's. I got a bunch of friends working on the roasts right now in LA, and I gotta say, LA is a lot of fun. It's a fun little switch from. I was in New York for about 9 years, D.C. for a year, and of course Columbus is always home.
Yeah,
but
and
this
New
is
York and D.C. seem more in your wheelhouse than L.A. would,
and that's why I think I like it. It's such a departure. I almost feel like after the governor race, I'm entering a a different era here where I do want to just kind of focus on comedies and movies, and you know that. I mean, you're the host, but that might be a good segue to comedies and movies because I know we have a lot in common
there. For those
there.
of you who think I should run for office,
We should do a poll. Can you guys do polls on your?
I don't know.
Yeah, we could do one on Facebook.
Yeah.
We'll do a Facebook poll.
Okay.
I'll put it up.
I smoke and I drink,
There you go.
not compulsively, consistently.
That's
There's
what
a
we
difference.
want. Keep in mind the guy who ran one of like the bunny ranches or something. He ran for state senate in Nevada, died in the saddle, meaning having sex.
I know
with,
what the. I know.
Yes,
What the,
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy, who makes an appearance in Killer Raccoons too,
Does he really? We're
told
gonna
us
get to that
this
in a second.
story. Yeah, that his friend died in the saddle, and this guy was running for state senate, and even after he died, he won. So the skeletons in the closet are just cool things to have now. Yeah,
I don't. There's not that. I have been so. What you see is what you get. Even
on radio.
Even on radio on
Yeah.
Sunday 95. I mean, to a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, but everybody knew that I like to gamble, I like to smoke, I like to drink, but that I was the things I was sincere and passionate about. I was sincere and passionate about. So.
and that's the thing. If you're a good person,
I think
Let
I'm a
it
good
shine.
person.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a great person, but I
Right.
think I'm a good person.
Right.
I have dark moments. I have moments of indecision. I have moments where I've made wrong decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've made bad choices in life. But who hasn't?
Right.
Who hasn't?
and that's the thing. When I ran my podcaster roommate in Brooklyn, who were the people who showed up? Originally, we were terrified because there's years and years of him saying horrific stuff on all these podcasts. And then who are the people who voted for him? His fans. Those are the 2% of Brooklyn that showed up and voted for
Well,
him.
it's interesting you speak about podcasts because, we're in a point in society, and culturally speaking, in respects to podcasts, where whether it's a podcast or something that can be on social media that can be drug up. Shane Gillis, who just got knocked off of SNL
Yeah.
because of things he said on a podcast
Last year.
Just last year was it?
Yeah,
last,
it
just
was
last
recent,
year?
which I think got him in more trouble. If it's like 8 years ago, 6 years ago, you can say, I was young and dumb. But,
Okay, but
yeah.
no, can you and get away with it? No, young and dumb doesn't fly anymore.
Right. I think about James Gunn, who is a
Young and dumb.
director.
Look at the Prime Minister in Canada.
Oh,
you know,
true, yeah.
How many years ago was that?
Which, by the way, how are so many politicians going to blackface parties? I've never been
I've never
to a
been-
blackface party in
never
my
been to a
entire
blackface
life.
party
It
either.
is so weird.
And I can,
That's just a normal
Man,
thing.
you
Throw
can-
one for you if you
and
want.
you can
No.
search. You can search social media to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
I've never gone blackface or gone to a blackface
It's so
party.
bizarre. It seems
Green
like-
face is one thing, but
no.
I have gone green face. I played the Grinch at Shadowbox
Yeah,
Live for the
yeah.
Christmas roast, so maybe that would be my
Oh,
controversy.
Well,
in black and white footage.
Yeah,
that might come
no.
off.
Oh, jeez. I can see the negative ads now.
I hope you find your muse again, and maybe don't give up completely on politics. But I know you're also thinking about other things, and that's what I want to get into right now. Let me ask you this question right out of the gate here. We're going to shift gears a little bit. Do I have to see Killer Raccoons in order to follow Killer Raccoons 2?
No, you don't. But it does exist.
And what's the full title of Killer Raccoons? I laughed my ass off when I saw the trailer. The full title for Killer Raccoons 2 is
Dark Christmas in the Dark. It is a direct parody of Under Siege 2 Dark Territory. You could almost say scene for scene.
Wow.
You could even almost say that I wrote the script by watching Under Siege 2, pausing it,
gosh.
rewriting the scene with raccoons, and then hitting play
Was
again.
2 the submarine or the train?
The train.
Oh, the train. One was a submarine.
Under Siege was
Yeah,
the submarine.
yeah,
2 is
okay.
the train.
Yeah.
And Killer Raccoons 2 is on a train.
It's on a train.
It's
We
on a
got
train.
this train in Nelsonville, Ohio.
First of all, let me go back to Killer Raccoons.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Would you like to hear the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to hear the story.
So,
what gives you the idea to do Killer Raccoons to
Well-
begin with? And then decide, you know what? It needs a follow-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not done with this story
15
yet.
years later. Let's get back to this. Yeah. So at Ohio University, you may know I'm a whiskey enthusiast. But down in Athens, there's a lot of people who are weed enthusiasts, and I do blame weed for starting the whole Killer Raccoons thing, because I was in a comedy troupe. We were down in Florida on a camping trip with the OU Surf Club, and I had never seen. Yeah, right. The two go together very
already.
well. We have many mutual interests, and it doesn't include the water. I can tell you that much, except if the water's in a bong. All right, and then. So I'm down there. I've never seen a zombie movie before, and so my comedy buddy's like, "Oh, we gotta go. You gotta see the zombie movie. It's Dawn of the Dead, the new one that came out in 2004." And we went to go see it, and my mind was blown. I was like, "These zombie movies are great." I had no idea. So we're hanging out at the campground that night, token up a little bit, and I start to hear these raccoon noises, and there's like one over here and one over there. They're like talking to each other around our campground. And I look at my buddy, and I just say very simply, March 2004. I'm like, has anyone ever made like a Killer Raccoon movie? And he's like, I don't know. And we didn't have smartphones. We just had a little.
It was only 2004. Yeah.
2004, and so we didn't have smartphones. So I had to wait till I got back to OU, jump on the desktop, and Googled it, or I think I Binged it, or Internet Explored it, whatever it was.
Did you ask Jeeves?
I think I did ask Jeeves, and Jeeves was like, "Well, hello, Travis."
I forgot about asking Jeeves.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good, I heard. But
he's doing okay.
Okay, I looked it up, and there's never a Killer Raccoon movie, and I was like, I gotta get on this. So I started writing the script in 2004. We started shooting it by summer 2005.
Yeah.
Shot it all for $5,000. The biggest money saver was how do you get the raccoons? And as I was researching it, I was interviewing a biology professor, and he was like. Telling me about raccoons, how neat they are with they got thumbs. They're one of the only mammals to have thumbs.
Oh.
And
I'll come back to this.
yeah, everyone's got a good raccoon story. That's what's also fun about this. I
have a good raccoon story.
It's very relatable.
Yeah. So we're basically thinking like, well, I guess I could get like stuffed raccoons or puppets. Maybe I can get dead. I was literally thinking, should I collect dead raccoons off the road, get them taxidermied? Yeah, I was literally like every time I remember driving back from OU back to Columbus, I'd see a dead raccoon on the side of the road, and I was like, yeah, he would look pretty good, And but I'm talking.
You're hired.
Yeah, I'm talking to this biology professor, and he's basically like, taxidermy raccoons, that'll cost you $600 a pop. And he was like, what you should do is there's raccoons are famous in the biology community for their pests. So when they're caught, they need to be gassed, frozen, and then thrown away. They're trash. In Ohio, raccoons, after they're caught, are trash. And he said that raccoons are notorious in the biology community, that you can get a dead frozen raccoon, let it thaw out, put it in like a fun position, refreeze it, and it stays like that for 12, 24 hours. And biology people play pranks on each other all the time with dead frozen raccoons. And
I always knew biology people were pranksters.
Yeah.
I always knew it.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something, something about them. And I go home.
Smarter than us all.
Yeah, I'm staying at home here in Bexley. And my dad's buddy is a biology professor at Kaplan University, and they're at home drinking Bloody Marys. And I remember I show up, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to have one. And they're like, how's your day? And I was like, well, I got to get a bunch of dead frozen raccoons if I want to make this movie. The biology professor, I remember he puts down his Bloody Mary, he had a big mustache, licks the tomato juice out of his mustache. He's like, you need dead frozen raccoons? How many do you need? I can get you as many as you want.
How many do you need?
And that was it. That's what started it all. I called this fellow in Delaware, Ohio. He gave us 7 raccoons for the first movie in the August heat of 2005.
So you had to work quick.
We had to work real quick. They got pretty droopy and even juicy at some times. A little bad for summer puppeteers. But I compare it's basically like a messed up Muppet show. If you look at the first movie, we just literally had all of our production assistants dangling a raccoon, and that's how they all operate. And we made the whole thing for $5,000. Senior year at Ohio University, and lo and behold, after we get it done, we debut it at the Gateway, and then they run it for like 4 weeks, which was awesome. And then this company, Troma Entertainment,
Troma does the horror films, sure.
We sent it to them. Within 2 weeks, we heard back. They're like, we want to distribute this, and so we became the first undergrad students to have a full-length feature film distributed
by Troma.
Yeah, well, just distributed, just any distribution deal as undergraduates, and that's what started. That was 2005, 2006, and that's what started it all. Here we are. Yeah.
Did it start it, or I mean, based on that accomplishment.
Right. Accomplishment. Yeah.
Based on that accomplishment, why didn't your film career take off after that?
Because it's so hard. It's almost like the Governor run. I remember it was just so hard. And even this sequel. I mean, you know the indie film world.
Yeah, well, we just recently got our film out on Amazon.
There you go.
On Prime,
Right.
and
of course,
ours is a very well done drama. It's an indie drama, and indie dramas are almost impossible to get distributed,
right?
Because they're not horror, they're not schlocky comedy, and it's a genre that is tough to get out there. So we feel we accomplished the world by getting an indie drama out there on Amazon Prime, and it's doing well on Amazon Prime. People are watching it. I mean, we're thrilled. But yeah. I mean,
it's tough.
It's tough.
In that first movie, we
By the way, that's The Street Where We Live on Amazon Prime.
There you go.
You can check it out.
Quick plug.
Buy it today. Available for Prime viewing for free in October, I believe. That's right.
But if you buy it before then, you guys get like 12 cents or something out of it?
Oh, the distributor has to get paid back first, and then we'll start raking in the
12
dollars.
cents.
The cents.
I don't care. I'm just happy that people are watching,
Right.
which is what you had to feel the same way.
Right.
That was the win.
And that's the thing, it's like Troma gives you $0 up
Right.
front, and then eventually they alter their accounting sheets, so they're never making money, which means you never make money. But we were 21 years old. We just made a feature movie out of, there was a miracle that we pulled it off.
You made a feature movie out of dead raccoons.
Yeah, 22 years old.
Yeah.
And the fact that it got anywhere was a miracle. And then I went off to the Bahamas and tried to make a movie there.
What was the movie you tried to make in the Bahamas?
It was I was really proud of it. It was like a 10 Little Indians parody.
Agatha Christie type of thing?
Agatha Christie, because it's the most remade Hollywood story in history.
Right.
And it's great because you got 10 actors, one location.
Have you actually read the Agatha Christie?
Oh yeah, I've seen all the different versions.
All the different versions. Okay.
There's so many different versions.
Right.
I watched them all, and I was trying to do that in the Bahamas, which was again a little ambitious. But we actually literally almost raised $300,000 to do it. But there was.
Did you need that much?
That's what we were asking for, because it was in the Bahamas, and you had to pay for people to get there and lodging and everything like that.
All right, I got you.
But we were gonna stay at the place I was working at in the Bahamas, which was like, it's an educational facility. It's made to house college students. It's made to house 40, 50 people. So we almost pulled it off, but this financier who could have got us the funding, I'm 24 years old. He read the script and he was like, it's not quite there. And I just remember giving up and moving back to Bexley. And then it was like, I'll run for mayor and make a documentary about that instead. So, but the nice thing is that, ideas like that now post Killer Raccoons 2, now I'm starting to think about that Agatha Christie idea.
So was Killer Raccoon, do you think Killer Raccoons 2 is a better movie than Killer Raccoons?
Hands down.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like, I don't mean this, I mean this in the best way possible.
Yeah.
It looks like a real movie.
Right. Yeah. No. And that's what everyone says.
Like this is a real podcast.
I mean,
I'm a real person.
It looks legitimately fun and entertaining.
And it is.
Cut to the trailer now.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah, send me a fucking.
Yeah, send them the trailer. We'll cut to the trailer on the podcast on
Perfect.
YouTube right now.
Yeah. And the trailer doesn't even have any of the stuff we shot in L.A. with Ron Jeremy and Ron
Yeah,
Lynch
you mentioned
and
Ron Jeremy and
James
who else?
Adomian. I mean, just all these great comedians who I know from New York and L.A.
Yeah.
And we got them to pop in for cameos and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm very proud of it.
What'd you make it for?
That one we did. The budget right now is $50. Now keep in mind we're still dealing with the final deliverables because we're talking to a distributor now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
those usually cost
Trust
a little
me,
bit more.
we know.
But I was absolutely intent on when we started making this. And I was like, all I want to do is add a zero. You make the first one for $5,000, make the second one for $50. There'll be a third one, Trash Pandas 3, Moonbase on the Moon. And that'll be a sci-fi.
You should be able to sell it on titles alone.
That's what I'm saying.
Trash Pandas on the Moon.
Yeah, because here's full.
Wait a minute. Why not? What happened to the raccoon? Are the raccoons in? Are the raccoons in Trash Panda?
Trash pandas are raccoons.
Trash pandas are raccoons.
Oh, trash pandas. Okay,
yeah, it's slang.
So okay, I get okay.
For the raccoon community,
pandas.
it's
That would be very expensive to get pandas.
Yeah, no, yeah.
They don't freeze well.
They don't
So
freeze
trash
well.
pandas. That's what they call raccoons. I apologize.
Well-
I wasn't
You
aware.
weren't hip.
I
You
wasn't
weren't hip
aware
to
of
the
the
raccoon
slang
jargon.
I'm not. Yeah. I will take not being hip to raccoon jargon to you not being able to spell
cock.
Yeah, but that is, I mean, well, in full disclosure, this might be my Justin Trudeau moment.
Oh,
but
great.
the first movie, we went to school in Athens, Ohio. We were in Appalachia. So we called the first movie Coons, Night of the Bandits of the Night, because we were like, yeah, Coons means raccoons. And then as soon as Trauma got the movie out there, it was all of a sudden like, no, that's not.
no.
So that's why we changed the title for the second one. So if you want to find the first one, it's on Amazon, Coons, Night of the Bandits of the Night. The second one's Killer Raccoons 2, Dark Christmas in the Dark. Third one's going to be Trash Pandas 3, Moonbase on the Moon. So you just change the title every time so you confuse everybody. But, it was obviously like that was a
But your
lesson.
diehard followers will.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like Coons 1 has a following. Like it has that cult trauma following. And, I do hope that we live in a world one day where the word coons only means raccoons and that's it. 'Cause to me,
you and
that's
me
all
both,
it should
brother.
be.
You and me both. So you had you screened it in L.A.
We screened it in L.A. recently. We screened it in New York, Chicago,
Oh, really?
Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Athens. And the L.A. one was the big one because you know how it is. Again, indie movies. We've been working the last 6 months on visual effects because we overloaded visual effects. We had a
Did
guy.
you direct it as well?
I wrote, direct, and had to edit too.
And had to edit. Yeah.
While I was running for governor of Ohio.
You're John Whitney.
Yeah. While I was running for governor of Ohio, I'd have to come back from the Tea Party meeting and jump on the computer at midnight and edit for like 2 or 3 hours.
I can't possibly win the bid for governor. I'm
Busy
editing
with my
Killer
raccoon
Raccoons
movie.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't say coons.
Yeah, right. I said raccoons.
Platform cool.
Yeah. So that was my life in 2018 was editing Killer Raccoons 2 and running for governor. But it was, at the end of the day, you know how it is too. I mean, like you just said, the fact that people are seeing it.
Right.
The fact that when we had the screening in LA, every screening I go in nervous as hell. And I'm just like, man, I hope these jokes hit. And every time we walk out, and everyone like you said, is like, it's like a real movie. It was great. And it's like, I don't.
And I meant that as a compliment.
But that's what all my friends in LA.
The trailer was very well put together. We're like, I kind of want to see this.
Right. And that was my buddies in LA. Like, if they had told me they didn't like it, I wouldn't know what to do because they're comedians in the industry, and they all loved it. And they texted me afterward, being like, "It's a real movie. Great job, man. Good."
Do you know what I mean? When, I'll tell you exactly what I mean. When I'm watching the
know what you mean.
When I'm watching the trailer, okay, when I watch the trailer, sometimes you can watch a trailer and it's just it's bad for the only reason is that it's bad.
Right.
But with this trailer, they're on purpose trying to be bad. When you're purposely trying to be bad, you actually have to act in order to pull that off.
Yeah.
In a whether you want to call it parody or whatever you want.
Convincing way. Yeah.
You actually have to, and so that cut through for me. Like, okay, this isn't bad because they suck. This is bad. This is bad, enjoyable on purpose.
Right.
Which is a whole different level of success.
Right. And that's what, I've found that most of the people who walk out, like we had a big gateway screening and we did have people like walk out. And what we found, and, we have producers outside asking, well, why did you leave? That's what test screenings are for. They usually don't get it. They're usually just like, it was really bad. It was like, but if you don't get the humor that we know we're bad and we're
capitalizing on that. We know what we're getting into.
These are dead frozen raccoons in elf costumes being bobbled by Ohio University interns. We know it's bad. Lighten up and enjoy the joke, right? And also go watch Under Siege 2. And then
it'll all make sense.
Then they'll get it.
It'll all make sense.
Yeah.
I got 2 words for you. Steven Seagal, then come watch our movie.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to figure it out.
Steven Seagal.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right, as we
Wait, real quick. What's better, Steven Seagal or raccoons?
Oh, raccoons. Hands
Okay,
down.
all right,
Under
okay.
siege
Oh,
too.
wait a minute.
okay.
Wait a minute.
Can we-
Genius
Yeah.
idea
Okay.
for Trash Pandas.
Moon based on the moon.
Yeah.
Sci-fi.
Cameo by Steven
Seagal.
Seagal. Come on, man.
Yes.
Come
Tony
on.
Talano.
You should be able to get him now.
He's in Russia.
You should be able to
There's
get
a
him.
Picture of him shaking hands with Putin before the 2016
You
election.
should be able to get Seagal. And you know what? And
gonna
then
be
maybe
tough.
he'll
Maybe he'll
finance
be an
it.
astronaut by then.
Danny Trejo apparently is a guy who will do indie films, and that's so. Yeah, we want to up the. I'd love to get George Takei, because what the moon based on the moon is going to be a sci-fi parody. So we're taking on Aliens 3,
I
which
understand.
was a disaster.
George Takei's doing very well with The Terror right now on AMC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's back. He's back in
He's
the.
back to what he knows.
Yeah.
Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. I just watched that last week. Woof, that's a doozy. And then Return of the Jedi is good. So I want to take
It is
these
good. It's
sci-fi
good.
elements because the first movie's a horror comedy making fun of
You
Jaws.
didn't like Search for Spock?
I didn't like it, man. The 80s. No, I was made in the 80s, and I think I'm better than a lot of movies.
Yeah,
You think you're
right.
better than
80s
the
movies
80s?
suck.
I
You
think
think
I'm
you're
better than the
80s?
movies made in the 80s. I'm just
go
saying,
back
as,
and watch 'em,
as
you're
someone
like,
who was born the
"Ah."
year Search for Spock came out, I was just like, well, I also popped out, and I think I hold up better.
I saw Little Monsters is on Amazon.
Is it?
Yeah, or Netflix, one of the two. Yeah, I
Well,
might watch that with the
let
kids.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna
As we
say.
digress.
No, say
Sorry.
what you
Yeah,
want.
the
Sorry.
first movie
We
is
gotta
a horror
start.
comedy
We
making fun of Jaws and Grizzly
Right,
and
right,
Piranhas.
right.
Second movie is action, making fun of action sequels. Under Siege 2, Die Hard 2 is actually another big element. That's what made our movie a Christmas movie. Once
I hate
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate it. Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
No, it is. Die Hard 2 is certainly a Christmas movie. That's
great.
Come on, brother, it's Christmas. How's the same shit having the same guy twice? I was just watching. I was just like, give me more, Bruce. I'm just like,
He's
great.
writing it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just the beginning.
All right, so
Like-
then the sci-fi parody.
And then,
Right,
sci-fi trilogies.
Too
So,
funny.
that's the rationale.
As we get close to wrapping up here, is there anything else you want to tell me that I don't know that we haven't covered yet? That I
We
should
covered
know
all
about?
the controversial stuff.
This is what I wanted with
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I wanted with you. I
Yeah.
mean, this has been great. But my last question to you, moving forward, is what are you going to do moving forward? What's next for Travis Irvine moving forward? Be it movies, politics, life in general. Where are you going, dude? Because you're seriously, you're at an interesting point in your life. Mm-hmm. You know, I remember being in my 30s, and that was kind of a pivotal point. Like, okay, if everything goes really, really well, I pretty much lived half my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, estimating that if I make it to 70, when I was in my 30s, I thought if I make it to 70, oh man, somebody's smiling down on me.
Right.
Because now at 60, I'm hoping to make it to
Right.
90.
Yeah.
And all right, 80.
Come on. Let's be reasonable. Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
be
okay.
reasonable.
82's good.
82 is a good one. So my father died. He was 82 when he died.
Honestly, 82's my goal age.
82.
If
So
I
at
go out at
30,
82, I'm
36,
fine.
right?
Yeah, 36,
So what are you thinking? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you hope to accomplish in the next few years? Where do you see yourself in the next? I'll go short. Next 5.
5 years. 5-year plan.
5-year plan.
Like Joseph Stalin, I got a good 5-year plan.
Maybe not the
Okay, maybe not him.
maybe not the best comparison,
Right.
but all right.
Yeah. No, it is, that's not lost on me, especially when you turn 36 again. Like, I was so pumped to be in that 18 to 35 demographic.
Right.
It was like, I'm still lumped in with the kids.
You shift.
And now I'm 36 to 50.
But be perfectly honest with yourself. When you were 32, you didn't figure with the kids anymore.
No, because I was.
No, you didn't.
No, but I was working, for Vice and especially in comedy, you're
Right.
The nice thing about comedy is, right, we got 40-year-olds, we got 20-year-olds, we got 30-year. I mean, we're all kind of just buddies. We all get along. So the age stuff has never impacted me as much. But turning 36, obviously, one of the things that changes is, can't drink whiskey like I used to, right? It's like the body, all my comedy buddies were like, "Oof, 36 is when it all changes." And
I tend to disagree.
Well, you are like
you're a special
rare
breed.
Yeah. I'm with you, Travis. Like you go up the stairs and you're like, shit, how many stairs
like,
did I just go
right,
up?
I still
no,
try to,
what-
like-
I don't know what you boys speak of.
I like biking. I like working out, but like things aren't working as I'm just
Really?
realizing the decline. Yeah, 36. I mean, it's 4 years till 40 now. So it's like, but career wise,
I don't. No, all right. I don't understand. You're
He's
throwing
a
me.
rare breed,
Yeah,
rare
you're
breed,
throwing me
you
for
know.
the physical part of it
yeah.
because
I mean, I'm not gonna stop drinking whiskey. I still love it. And
It just takes you 7 days to recover.
exactly, I got to go a little
Seriously?
easier on it. Yeah, I got to drink more water.
man.
Yeah. So
well, water's.
and living in LA now, water's hard to come by. So.
But I think you can still drink it whenever you want.
Yeah. So, but I want the LA transition to stick. I really do because I would like to start doing comedy and movies full time. As we potentially enter a distribution deal for Killer Raccoons 2 and make that pay off. The documentary Hail Yourself America. Ben
Coming up.
Yeah, Ben and I are going to be rolling that out throughout 2020. And we want to inspire more young people to run for office.
Documentaries are kind of hip now.
They're real hip, and then the next project I'm working on, Jeff Ross is actually in it. It's a documentary about my buddy Ed's mother, who passed away from diabetes and was a gambling addict, and it's just about the socioeconomic position of poor mothers in America.
So you connect gambling and diabetes somehow?
That's what she had. She would gamble away her insulin money, and then
Jesus.
she couldn't afford insulin, and she died. And it's one of those, and it's not a unique story here in America. So that's the next project. The hard part will be making it funny, but that's where Jeff Ross comes in.
Well, and that was going to be my next comment. Some of these documentaries, I mean, obviously you are a humorist. I mean, but they're not raccoons,
Right.
So
Not
I mean,
that
what?
level,
Yeah. So I mean, there's a humor injected in them.
If you watch American Mayor on Amazon, or if you get to see Hail Yourself America coming soon, you'll see that even with the political campaign, they're both campaign documentaries, but they are fun in nature. And that's why I like a good documentary. It's like, we screened Hail Yourself America in Milwaukee back in August. 170 people showed up because Ben, has all these listeners. And the response was great. And again, going back to what you said about you're just happy when people see it, it's like, I'm just happy all the jokes are hitting.
Right. Yeah, comedy's hard, man. And
Yeah.
we talk about doing a comedy, and if you
miss the mark.
if you miss the beats, you miss the mark. You got a shitty comedy.
Yeah, and I will say that's why I like editing, because comedy, especially community, you have the timing. So
Right.
I have Killer Raccoons 2. I'm the editor. I'm going through. I'm moving things 2 frames this way. I'm like, I need a better beat here. And it's like,
It's all about the beats.
yeah. So if nothing else, I'm proud to be the director editor brand. There's different kind of directors where they produce or they act, and it's like, I like being a director editor. It's pretty fun.
I've told him as well. When I think about we talk about doing a comedy, and like if we're gonna do a comedy, and go back and look at the screwball comedies of the of the
Airplane.
30s.
Airplane 2. What a great sequel.
Well,
Yeah.
but the actual screwball comedies of the 40s.
Oh, okay.
With
Even further back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about as far as the timing and the beats.
Yeah.
Rapid fire dialogue that
Yeah.
doesn't miss. It's all timing and beats and so forth.
Yeah.
There's the lesson to be learned. I would suggest to anybody who's trying to write a real dialogue driven comedy to go back to the screwball comedies of the 30s and 40s, because they were impeccable.
Yeah, and that's a good, because you want to talk about how you got your comedy roots and things like that. When I was 10 years old, my dad was bringing home Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, I Love Lucy, Jack Benny. I was watching all these as a kid and memorizing who's on first and things like that. And
Not a bad thing.
And Duck Soup is probably one of the funniest anti-war comedies out there.
Marx Brothers?
Yeah. And it was
Talk
all
about timing.
Yeah, it was all in the editing, because the guy who directed it, this guy Leo McCrary, was like, I'm cutting your love story.
Who also did a lot of Three Stooges stuff.
Yeah, he did. And he was like, I'm cutting your love story. I'm cutting that musical number. And even the Marx Brothers were like giving him shit. But later in life, Groucho even said Duck Soup was the best movie we did because Leo McCrary directed it.
Yeah.
And we didn't. He did. So.
Well, I'm glad that life brought you back to Columbus, Ohio, so you could be with us on this
Thank you.
edition of Whiskey
We
Business.
booked this.
Birthday
We booked
Mom,
this
yeah.
like happy birthday, mom. But yeah, we booked this like the
After
last
the premise.
premise. So this
After
is like
the last
3
premise.
months
Back in
ago.
July.
Yeah.
This has been something we've been looking forward to, and make sure you send all those links to both him and us. We'll get the trailer for Killer Raccoons 2 into the YouTube version. Johnny will do that seamlessly.
Cut it right in.
He'll cut it right in because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And our guest bottle tonight has been, I think Frank would be proud of tonight. It's interesting. While you were talking about, Democrats and Republicans, Frank, over the course of his career, was very political.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was all about JFK.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then he was all about, later in life, he moved to the Republicans. He was all about Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. Well, that's the Churchill quote. If you're not a liberal by the time you're 21, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative by 28, you don't have a brain. And that's what libertarians were like. Well, at least we have both hearts and brains.
But the Sinatra Select has been great tonight. You guys like this?
It was so smooth.
It was really smooth.
But it still had the good Jack flavor,
Oh, yeah. Well, you're not gonna.
The first sip, I was like, "Am I at a bar?" No.
One of the videos I shot when I was in Lynchburg was them making the charcoal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
There's
see
a
that
big,
one, the big pit?
flame.
Yeah. By all means, Travis, pour because you're not leaving after we're done with the podcast. But we are done with the podcast. I went over the hour, Hansberry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
we had a lot.
We're wrapping up at 1:15. You can still make this work.
You had a politician and a comedian in one.
Yeah.
So
It's 2 interviews.
yeah, exactly. We have actually a lot to kind of cover during the course of this episode. So I actually created a poll on Facebook. It is just straightforward. Should Dino run for office? Of course. These are your 2 options.
Are
Of
you kidding me?
course,
You actually
or
put this up there?
stick to the stand-up. And we've got 4 votes, and they're all for of course. So
go.
of the 4 people who have already voted in the past 27 minutes, we all think you should
Run for office.
I didn't say.
Not everyone should have a podcast.
No.
Making trouble, Whitney.
So check out our Whiskey Business Facebook poll, and you can vote. Should Dino run for? Maybe if we get a good contingency there, then
you have to respect the democratic process. If
Yes,
your
you do.
fans want you to run, you got to run.
That's 4 people. 4 people that voted
That's
on
more.
that.
That's more votes than I got.
But it's 100% of the vote.
Right? Yeah, it's 100%. You're batting 100%, Dino. These numbers are good.
That's called a spin, right?
I don't know.
Also, so we've been talking about links, a lot of links. Travis, you have a lot of fun videos and links and different things. So we don't talk a lot about the whiskeybusinessshow.com. That's where our website is. That houses all of our things. And that's actually probably going to be the best place where we could host all of these links. So it's just a blog post with our podcasts and pictures.
Whiskeybusinessshow.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably the easiest way, just to have we could just put all million links that you send us. So that'll probably be the best
remind
place.
me which ones to send.
Just send them all, and we'll get.
Yeah,
but also Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Whiskey
right,
Business
right.
with Dino Tripodis, and rate and review on.
We
your favorite
apologize, too.
podcasting
We had a
app.
little SoundCloud issue last week. That wasn't us. It was SoundCloud.
It's all right. Take
We
care of
fixed
them.
it, right? Done? Fixed?
Sure. It
Okay.
didn't happen this week.
All right. So, man, thank you.
Thank you, Dino.
You're going to hang out for a little bit afterwards?
love to hang out.
And then we got more whiskey to drink. And,
Absolutely.
And we
All
can
of my
hang.
parents come pick me up. Happy birthday, Mom.
And I get to meet Sandy. Will Sandy come?
Yeah, well, you met her at the premise.
I did meet
Yeah,
her, but would she come to pick you up?
She will totally come pick. She's such a sweetheart.
We talk calligraphy.
Good talk calligraphy.
Finally, she can teach you how to spell cock.
Hey, Mom, real quick.
Oh, my God. Whiskey Business is a Never the Luck production produced on the audio side by the boy who can't spell cock.
No.
Greg Hansberry.
Thank you.
And on the video side, so wonderfully, expertly cut. He does such a great job on the YouTube videos. John Whitney on the YouTube videos. And our guest has been Travis Irvine, who has unsuccessfully run for mayor, Congress, and governor. But you know what? I think the boy still got something in him.
He's won our hearts.
I really do.
there you
I
go.
really do. And if I do ever decide to run for office, you're getting a call, brother.
I swore on that lighter
You swore on that
that I
later.
stole from Jeff Ross's house.
So already we have scandal.
Oh, boy.
We stole something. All right. So until the next bottle, see ya.